It's cool, man. Whew. Mixed emotions today. It's good. I was thinking about that and I said, Lord, I want to bring a word, but I want to bring what you want to bring. Because it always works. First of all, before I start, I want to just say, love you guys. You're the craziest bunch of people I've ever been with. Yeah. You're like my old family. Sometimes it's hard to chill with you, sometimes it's funny. Nah, I'm just kidding. You guys are good, man. I'm the one that needs working. All right. Awesome. So this morning I got a message that's on my heart, but it's also having to do with the topic, with the theme, which is doing life together. So when I was thinking about that, doing life together, but it was this part that said no matter what. That's the part that kind of stuck to me. So I know we're doing life together, but it's the no matter what. That's the part that was really getting to say, okay, what does that look like? So this is the title of my message. Like, man, as a kid growing up, I loved that movie. It was clean. There was nothing rude about it. It was just innocent and so inspiring, you know. But it was that end, you know. If you've never seen it, man, you're missing out. Cool runnings. Jamaica River bobsled team. Yeah, I don't know, I never remember the rest of the words, but it was really good. I loved it, but it was just inspiring that whole thing. They're the most awkward and different type of people with personalities, but they managed to come together with the same kind of mindset of I want to make it to the Olympics. But in the same way, they started to learn how to, I guess, move with each other. Yeah, sometimes you're dead, man. You know, but it was at the end scene, which is like so inspiring for me, is because their bobsled broke. And instead of saying, oh, well, we came and we fought, but it's time to go home, no, they didn't. They picked up that thing and they walked into the finish line. It's so inspiring for me. So it's this no matter what that really kind of gets at me. What does that look like? No matter what does that look like for you? Ask yourself that question. Because there's words that are associated to this very, very phrase that gets me. It's words like commitment. Oh. There's some tough words. They're serious. Commitment. It's about making a decision. I'm all in. Even to that, no matter what, there's almost like a sense of desperation. Like, I'm going to do this no matter what. How many of you have ever had that? Oh, man, probably all of us have had it. Every year. This year, this is my year. This body's going to change. You know? Every year we have that. This body's going to change. I'm going to go to the beach and not be shamed this Christmas. You know? And then we have this, like, I'm going to stick to my diet no matter what. I'm going to the gym. No matter what. And then somebody comes over and says, hey, we're about to go out on a buffet lunch today. You want to come? He's like, maybe I'll start tomorrow. The Lord knows my heart. Maybe I'll start tomorrow. And then it's maybe next week. You know what? Maybe it's not my year this year. Maybe I was just over-exaggerating. This year's just me this year. But there's got to be an aim and a purpose. If I'm aiming for something, it's got to be something that I know that I'm striving for, but I want to see it done. And I'm going to get there no matter what. So it means taking away things, putting things away that are going to stop you from getting to that place. Also, when you think about no matter what, there's going to be opposition and barriers. You can't get to where you're going without there being things in the way. But it's not about what's in front of you, it's about what you're going to do with it. Are you just going to look at it and say, well, there's no answer, or are you going to look to God and say, God, if you can do it, then show me what it looks like to break through. So there's this whole thing about no matter what, doing life together, no matter what, staying the course. Sometimes we can be all about our preference. I prefer this. If the church will do it this way, then I'm all in. But let's just say the pastor or the leadership has a vision And there's something that they can see, and God's given it to them. And they don't know what it looks like on a bigger scale. But they look at what the word God has given them and say, okay, whatever the vision looks like, whatever you've got, I'm going to jump on board with that. Despite what I prefer, despite what I think it might be, I'm going to follow it, no matter what. But it also builds perseverance, endurance. That's what no matter what is about. Doing it together, despite our stories and where we come from. Someone's been through the worst thing than this person. It's not a comparison about who's been through the worst. It's about us coming together. Jesus unites all of us. He now becomes our story. This, no matter what, like, it encourages me as well. Like, I brought this, because this is like in our culture, this is like your PJs. Like when you say pajamas, we're having a pajama party, I might turn up with one of these. Like, you know, and we just put it around and come out in a singlet, we're just like, yo, I'm here. Just like, bro, that ain't a PJ. You better be covered. But, it just reminded me, like, it was funny when I was thinking about this message, and it was cracking me up, because back in high school, I was part of a cultural group. You have like cultural things at your schools? Yeah. So back then we had like a big competition where all the high schools got together. We had like this see who was the king of the Samoan stage, or the Tongan stage. You know, so we'll be practicing. Like the whole thing was like, do you want to be part of the Samoan group? I said, yeah, I want to be part of it. Yeah. I said, what do we have to do? I said, we're going to teach you the cultural dances. And the whole thing about this is that what they judge you on is not how great you are as a superstar and how great you move, but if you can move together in unison. See, you can have everyone doing the best exaggerated moves, but if it looks real uncool, it gets marked as none. I'm just wanting to see if you can do it in unison together. And so I'm worried is because it cracked me up thinking back to my high school days, because when I joined the group, I practiced, you know, and then they gave me the moves and I went home and I practiced like, man, I'm going to get this, I'm going to learn this, no matter what, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do my part, I'm going to practice every day. So even if I'm sitting on the lawn doing all these moves by myself, yeah, I look like a weirdo, but I was like, no, I'm focused, man, I'll practice. I'm going to do this no matter what. And then I remember, after we did the whole thing, it was like, hey, that was amazing, that was so good. And then I watched the video. And then I was like, damn. See, because like what they didn't tell me was, when you join this, you have to go with your shirt off. And I was like, I forgot about that. I'm not going to share this. But yeah, and I watched the video, and I was this kid, I was like, so excited to do our dance. I was like, yeah. And then I watched it, and I was just like, wow, look at all that stuff moving around. No wonder why when the teacher said, you know, I'm hearing extra claps. And I was like, that's not my hands. It's my belly and stuff. But honestly, everyone was like, wow, and I was watching it, almost like destroyed watching myself. It's like, this is gross. Don't show anybody. So every cousin's house we went to, they're like, what school were you at? Let's watch the video. I don't want to watch the video. But I made this like, I was so determined. Like, I looked and I said, you know what? I need to lose this way. I really wanted to. And so I set myself on this little goal to do that. Because I said to myself, man, we eat some real fatty stuff, like in my family. So I'm going to eat on the side plate every day. That's going to be my meal after school. I will not eat bread after school. So every day, I'll come home and Mom will make dinner. And then I'll go, here's my sauce. And she's like, why? And I was like, because this is why I need to cut down. I really want to train this body. And so That's what I did every day. I was like eating with this, and I said, Mom, I'm going for my run. So I went for a run, and then like just slow, little by little, like started to lose it. But everything, even when people try to buy me this stuff, I was like, no, man, I'm gonna stay the course. I'm gonna stay committed to this because, look. And then if I feel like eating it, then I watch the video. It's like, no, that's why I'm not gonna eat because I don't want to do that. And it's like, it's just funny, like looking back at the. Just the little things of no matter what, like the commitment that even ourselves, like personally you have a relationship with God, and God's doing that personally with you, but it's making you better so that when we come together, we can come in unity together, so that we can bring glory to God. With all the gifts that you've been given, I cannot be a hand, somebody else is a hand. That's the problem with church today. One is always trying to be the eye, the other one is trying to be the ear. Yeah, that church don't see what I see. And the other churches say they don't hear what we hear. We're supposed to come together with all our differences and to unite and to bring the glory to God, because God will bless each and every one. And it's funny, you're like, man, that's the thing about God. He like, when he gives you these encouraging, he has this kind of like a truth serum on you, like where you're not ashamed of the things that you went through. Because I remember after I trained, like, for that time, and a little bit after that time, that's why I kind of met Nina. And, I was cleaning up the back of my house, and I was hosing down, and then she didn't know this. But, like, just see some truth serum coming up. Jesus stuff. It was funny. She like, came over, my little brother was like, hey, these two girls at the front, they come in high school uniform. I was like, who said it? She's that girl from that high school. And I was like, oh yeah. They all take off the shirt and with the hose. Oh, hey. Yeah, how are you? But it's cool. She didn't remember that because I didn't tell her that. But yeah, just tell me today. Yeah. No matter what, that's us coming together no matter what. There's a word in here, James 1 in the Bible, James 1, 2 to 3. Whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know the testing of your faith produces perseverance. That's what we have to come to realize, is that, yes, we go through the same storms as everybody else that might be out in the world. But we have a game changer. We have Jesus. We have the Holy Spirit who helps us. But then we have to also look at it and say the testing of your faith is actually really producing the perseverance that you need for what God is calling you to do. Sometimes we want God to say, God, give us the mountaintop experience. But he says, do you want the climb? And I don't want the climb, but just take me up there, Lord, on the cloud. Come on the journey. Come on the journey. So the testing of your faith is important. This is where the no matter what happens, it's in the testing of your faith. 1 Corinthians 10:13, I was reading the other day. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. I was just thinking about it. So it's not that he just provides a way out. He actually wants you to endure it. Sometimes we're like, God, take the storms and the trials out. But he says, no, I want to teach you how to endure it. Walk in it. Understand what no matter what looks like in the kingdom. You can get to the end of your walk with all these gifts. But I can tell you now, I'd rather have the character of Jesus at the end of it. Being molded and shaped by the very test that I have the character of Jesus at the end. I love the gifts, but I want to be about the giver. If he calls me to be like him, then I want to be like the giver, which is Jesus. His character outweighs and outshines everything that you could possibly give to me as a gift. Romans 8:18 says, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. So what you suffer, Jesus said, when you follow me, you will suffer. People will persecute you. It's going to happen. But what you go through, there's nothing compared to what he brings you out on the end. I'll tell you that. You look at the things that you've been through that you were so worried and you were so anxious about, and you look back at it and you say, I don't even know why I was worried about it. Because he actually fixed it the next week. God's trying to build that in us. It's us doing life together no matter what. Now I have a statement that I want to put up. You probably heard it in a different way, rephrased in a different way, but this is something that's just been on my heart just for the last month. Faith confirmed by action attracts the attention of God. Faith confirmed by action. Moving. We sang it. We need to move. It attracts the attention of God. Now, I'm about to do that in a way that you know me, I love doing. I'm a real visual person. So can I ask my little actors to come up, please? See, in these stories with Jesus, yeah, I can have you too. So I'm just about to just recreate some of these gospel scenes, but I want to show something in there that I believe Holy Spirit was showing me. See, God is pleased with faith, right? Without faith, you cannot please God. Yep. All right. Okay, sir. Can I have Jesus standing here? Please. Okay. So there's a story in the Bible in Luke. If you want to open up, you can open up. But for time's sake, I will be paraphrasing a lot of this. In Luke 5, verse 18 to 26, there's a story in there that's pretty cool. But almost like if you sit there and you let it marinate, it actually messes with you. It's the story of some men carrying a paralyzed man on a mat and trying to take him into the house to lay him before Jesus. When they could not find a way to do this because of the crowd, they went up on the roof and lowered him on his mat through the tiles in the middle of the crowd, right in the front of Jesus. See, this is what gets me. Okay, can I get you, my sister, to come over here? So I'm going to pretend that you're a crowd, you're part of the crowd. Maybe I can be part of the crowd as well, so it doesn't look awkward. Now, I want you to imagine that there's a paralyzed man on this mat, right? And these two guys. Do it, pick up. Yeah, be careful of the guys. So this is how I picture the scene, right? So Jesus is in there. Either he's teaching or he's preaching a message. It doesn't say specifically what he's doing. But it leaves so much room for imagination. Then you got the crowd that's in there, and you have these guys. There's probably another guy, because they can't lift this one guy by themselves. And they're going into the house. But when they come, it's crowded in there. Here's my thing. I have this thing called stop. Come back later. When it's a good time. The nerve. These guys go and climb up the roof. Come on. Jesus is giving a message. Let's just say I'm preaching a message and someone's pulling the tiles from the top. Ain't no one listening to my message. Everyone's going to be looking at the top like, what the heck's going on? Is Jesus come back already? But when you look at it, it's this part right here that gets me. Even though they could see the crowd, even though they could see that there was no way to get in, they still found that there was a way to get to him. So they climbed up the house and the nerve to break through the tiles of somebody else's house just to get their friend to Jesus to be healed. Here's what gets me. Why wasn't Jesus annoyed about it? Jesus, why didn't you tell him to stop? Because it was the faith of those guys. It was the actual nerve of them to go where they were stopped. And it was like we're getting our friend to Jesus no matter what. It didn't matter what they had to do. They went out there to make a hole in somebody else's house to get their friend to Jesus. That's no matter what for me, as I saw in that story. But it attracted the attention of Jesus, where he was not annoyed about what was happening. What was happening was normal. What was happening over here was faith and action. That's what attracted the attention of Jesus. That's what I'm trying to highlight from this statement is actually what happened right here. It was amazing. Jesus loves you. When everyone else is doing the ordinary and mundane, when he has these ones who have faith, but they're willing to put it into action, his attention cannot help but turn. He stopped the whole service to look at his friends. And you know what he said to them? He said, he saw their faith. And he says, your sins have been forgiven. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is the no matter what. There are so many things. There are things that you think about yourself that I can't get there, Lord. I can't do this. I'm not worthy of this. God says, put your faith into action, and I will do something great and marvelous through you. I'm telling you right now, with everything that was happening there, it didn't stop his friends. But he says, because of their faith, friend, your sins have been forgiven. I'm about to do another scene right here. So you can put the mat down. Right, so this is my blind beggar right now. Change roles. So this is also in the book of Luke, verse 35 and 43. Jesus approached Jericho, and a blind man was sitting by the roadside begging when he heard the crowd going by. He asked what was happening. They told him, Jesus of Nazareth is passing by, he called out. Here's what the blind beggar said. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And guess what the guys that told him that were leading him? Be quiet, man. Shush. Making too much noise. Jesus over there. I don't want to hear you. And yet he refused to listen to them. He said, again, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And amongst the crowd, Jesus is walking. People are around him. All of a sudden, Jesus turns his head. Who is that? Bring him here. He said, what do you want to have? He said, I want to receive my sight. He said, receive your sight, for your faith has healed you. Praise the Lord. I want you to see something here. That blind beggar could have just sat there and listened to the rebuke on him. But he was like, no. If this Jesus that I've heard about is coming from this place, and if it means that I've got to scream and I've got to shout and I've got to just make myself known that I'm here, he may heal me. And that's what happened. They rebuked him, and he kept shouting. Out of the whole crowd, Jesus turns, doesn't get annoyed at him. He actually says, bring him here. Bring him to me. And heals and restores his sight right there. This is what it's about. This is the no matter what that we're talking about. No matter what. There are so many things you feel like you're unworthy to do in God. You feel like there's a walk or there's a calling on your life that God has given you, but you feel like you're not ready and you can't do it. Why me, Lord? Why not somebody else who's smarter and who's greater than me? And he says, look, because I've called you forth to do it. And I want you to come through the journey of no matter what. No matter what it looks like. No matter what people say about you. Even if you become saved and people from your past keep speaking and saying, that's not who you are. I know who you are because I grew up with you. It doesn't matter what they say, because what matters is what Jesus says finally said. He has the final word on what he says about you, not what other people have. And I've got my last scene, which is one of my favorites. This is a woman that's subject to bleeding. She's been like this for 12 years. Come on, 12 years. If you read it in the story, it says she's spent so much money on the doctors, surgery, whatever it is, just to get better. She couldn't. 12 years, desperate. Can I get the team where's the chaser team that's going? Where's our team that's about it? Yep, cool. I'll get you, you can be the crowd. We're going to have a real crowd, all right? So you're going to crowd Jesus. So can I have my sister who's going to be playing subject to? Oh, yeah, you already did. Sorry, she ain't going to give you the play. Love that. This is So in this last story, sorry we didn't have the whole team here, but this story is in the book of Luke, in chapter 8, verse 42 to 48. Now, before this story happens, there's a man that comes to Jesus and says, my daughter is dying. Can you come? So he's on his way to do something. He's got a mission that he's on with this man because his daughter's dying. And along the way, it says, as Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. But no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. And Jesus said, who touched me? Can I give you a stand here? So you got Jesus over here, and you got the crowd that they're almost crushing him. So you can think that there are so many people in this crowd. But I think about the woman who's subject to bleeding. See, in the book of the law, if you had bleeding, you were claimed as unclean. You could not touch anybody, or you made them unclean. So I was thinking about this woman standing there with everything that's about her. 12 years I have not been loved. Nobody has ever touched me. Nobody has even come near me, acknowledged me, except for the fact that I've been bleeding for 12 years. Everyone knew about it. And then I think about her and saying, if I try and go through this crowd, people may stone me. People may turn around and persecute me. People may say, go back to where you came from. But if you look at it, all she could see was Jesus and her answer to what she'd been longing for her whole life. I could be thinking in her place of saying, I don't want to touch Jesus because I might make him unclean because of the uncleanliness that I have. So maybe if I just touch his cloak, maybe if I touch his garment, maybe I can get healed. Maybe I can be loved. Maybe someone will accept me. What happened in that moment is she could have stayed here. This is where faith was. I have the faith for what Jesus can do, but it required an action. And so she went through that crowd. She busted through that crowd just to reach his garment. If I can get just to his garment, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed. And all of a sudden, Jesus turns and says, who touched me? And his disciple says, everybody's been touching you, Jesus. He says, no, I found power in me. When you read on with that story, then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. In the presence of all the people, she told why she had touched him, and how she had been instantly healed. Then he said to her, daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace. This is no matter what. There are so many things in your life that might stop you from getting to Jesus. But I tell you what, that journey you are not doing alone. You're doing it together. As the church family, no matter where we came from, no matter what your story is, No matter what you've been through, we can do this together. No matter what. This Chaser team that stands before you, we're about to embark on a journey. And it means that we have to leave love relationships sometimes. It doesn't mean we're not going to be friends. It just means that we have to give our whole heart to this. This is faith, our faith, now being put into action. And God will turn to bring his people in. When I look at these people here, and the ones that couldn't be here, I've thought about it for the last few days, and I said, every one of them has kind of made a decision to change the way that they're living so that they can prepare themselves for what God is doing. Some people are changing their jobs to be ready for it. Some people, they're changing schools so that they can be in the community that God is calling us to. Some people are moving house to get ready for this. This is our faith put into action for God to advance his kingdom. It's not about us. It's about him and his glory. It's about him and what he's paid a high price for. Not about us. What we're doing is so small. But I also want to challenge you, brothers and sisters of the Lakes campus. I understand that you have faith that God will do something amazing in this church and in this campus. But can I ask you, where do you need to put your action in? Because you might be believing for people who are good at looking after kids to come in. But God's probably looking at you and saying, but what can you do now before I bring them in? Because we have faith, but I want to see your action. If you call this home, then your roots go down deep. And let your actions speak louder than your faith. Because your faith, confirmed by action, will turn the heavens.